When 62-year-old Grace Walker walked into the restaurant wearing a faded uniform and worn-out shoes, everyone saw an old waitress struggling to make ends meet. By the end of the evening, the people who laughed at her were begging for forgiveness. Grace had worked at the Golden Oak restaurant for nearly 30 years. She knew every regular customer by name. She remembered birthdays. She stayed late whenever someone needed help. Despite her kindness, many wealthy customers looked down on her because of her age and simple appearance. One Friday evening, a wealthy businessman named Charles Bennett arrived with his family to celebrate his son's engagement. They ordered the most expensive dishes on the menu. Grace served them with a warm smile. While pouring wine, Charles glanced at her worn shoes and laughed. "You've been working here for 30 years?" Grace nodded politely. "Yes, sir." Charles smirked. 30 years. You should have invested your life a little better." Several guests smiled awkwardly. Grace simply apologized and continued serving. Later that evening, Charles accidentally spilled his drink. Grace immediately cleaned the table. Charles tossed a few dollars onto the floor. "There. That's probably more money than you usually see." The restaurant became silent. Even the younger waiters felt embarrassed. Grace calmly picked up the money. She placed it back on the table. "I appreciate your generosity, but I don't accept tips given without respect." Charles rolled his eyes. "You'll regret refusing free money." Grace smiled. "I've never regretted choosing dignity." An hour later, the restaurant manager suddenly rushed into the dining room. "The ownership transfer is complete." Charles frowned. "What ownership?" The manager turned toward every guest. "I'd like everyone to meet the new owner of the Golden Oak restaurant, Mrs. Grace Walker." Silence filled the room. Charles nearly dropped his glass. The manager continued. 30 years ago, Grace quietly invested every paycheck she could. She later became the restaurant's largest shareholder. When the previous owner decided to retire, she purchased the remaining shares. Before leaving the dining room, she announced something nobody expected. "Every employee working here today will receive a salary increase. And every customer dining tonight, enjoy your meal. It's my treat." The restaurant erupted into applause. Even the chefs came out of the kitchen. As Charles quietly walked toward the exit, he finally understood something money could never buy. Respect is earned through character, not wealth.